Sermon title: Investigating the World Through Behavioral Concepts. Subtitle: Investigating the World Through Behavioral Concepts provide the internal and external behavioral justification. I am investigating the world through behavioral conceptions, because I have researched cause and effects to behavioral matters in which I am honored to share my experience in research, which consists of observation and examination for behavioral justification. Now, as a minister in the Society of Jesus Christ, the Bible has provided many examples of behavioral justification. However, did we ever take out the time to observe and examine the justifications to these behavioral? For example, when I talk about behavioral concepts, I am directing thoughts to ideas which submerge for the mind. The reason I use submerge because of deep thoughts that applied to when a thought is merged after a submerge. Submerge in this case means that a thought that is observed and examined for behavioral justification, meaning the thought was thought over and over before a determination for reasoning to a particular behavioral. The concepts of a particular behavioral is ideas. Where ideas come from, and how they get there is justified. Let's examine the behavioral in Matthew 17, 1-9, 1. And after 6 days Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, 2, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. 3. And, behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. 4. Then answered Peter, and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, hear ye him. 6. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face, and were sore afraid. 7. And Jesus came and touched them, and said, Arise, and be not afraid. 8. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man, save Jesus only. 9. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Now, we have heard of the behavioral that had taken place here. We can visualize and examine the outcome. Through visualization we can apply an observation technique. In Matthew 17, 1, Jesus, Peter, James and John went to a high mountain. When they got up to the mountain according to Matthew 17, 2, they had witnessed a change in Jesus. They witnessed that he was transfigured, such as his face became lighted like a sun and his raiment become white like a light bulb. While they were on top of the mountain, phenomenal continued to appear to them like the voice of God in Matthew 17, 5. But I know you have experienced seeing a cloud of rain cover one side of the street and not the other side. This is exactly what Peter, James and John witnessed. A bright cloud shadowed on them like a rain cloud up a street and not down the street on the same street. This cloud was over their head, but it was not over Jesus' head according to the Gospel of Matthew 17:5. In addition, this caused another change to them after seeing another strange phenomenon on the mountain top. Now, notice the behavioral of them in Matthew 17:6. This was a cause and effect behavioral that came upon them because of the voice of God. They were struck from the experience that they fell on their face, and were sore afraid. From knowing something about the mind being afraid, we have experienced some time in our lives where we were afraid of something, whether it was serious or not as serious, we still became frightened. While you do not know that we are afraid of things our mind has not experienced before, like what Peter, James and John experienced when they were on the mountaintop and became feeling strange about what they had experienced on the mountaintop. Something their mind never experienced before in their lives. Our minds usually are shocked by a known experience. However, what we should know about fear or being frightened is another thought. This is a way we protect ourselves. If you never had heard about how fear is a way we protect ourselves, then I am glad to present this opportunity to help you understand fear in our lives, which causes us to respond to what we do not understand and never experience, or what we have experienced for the first time. A better way I can explain to you that fear is a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, or pain. Whether the threat is real or imagined, the feeling or condition of being afraid of a specific instance of or propensity for such a feeling, as an example of an abnormal fear of heights in which merge from the mind after and during the experience of fear, having associated it with anxiety, solicitude of a fear for someone's safety or even toward God. Now, this fear that was witnessed by the three men were not a fear to be afraid of according to Jesus in Matthew 17:7-8, when he had reached down to touch them and he asked them to get up and not to be afraid, and their eyes looked up to Jesus and there was no one around but Jesus. Meanwhile, as they climbed down from the mountain, they were asked by Jesus not to tell anyone of their experience on the mountain, because the Son of Man needed to be risen again from the dead. My justification for them not saying anything is that the people would not have believed them and they might find themselves in trouble with Jesus for making up such strange story to tell the people. However, in my opinion, if the people see with their own eyes the risen of Jesus from the dead, they would believe whatever they told the people, because the people that, once a person is dead, they would not come alive again. Now, I do not know your justification for the behavioral I have justified in the lecture, but I would like to know your opinion or your justification to this conclusion too. Why they had fear by their experiences on the mountaintop.